Good day, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about flooding in Cagayan Valley during Typhoon Ulysses and how this disaster shows that solving environmental problems requires not just one solution, but a combination of efforts. Flooding is not a new issue in the Philippines. However, what made this event alarming is how quickly the situation escalated, leaving many communities unprepared. This disaster highlighted the connection between environmental damage, human activity, and disaster management. Let's start with the environmental impact. During Typhoon Ulysses, continuous heavy rainfall caused rivers to overflow, and large areas of land were submerged in floodwater. One major effect was soil erosion. When floodwaters move strongly, they carry away soil, making the land less fertile for farming. Another serious impact was water contamination. Floodwaters mixed with garbage, sewage, and even chemicals, making the water unsafe for drinking and daily use. This not only affects people, but also damages aquatic life like fish. In addition, many natural habitats were destroyed, forest areas, crops, and ecosystems were heavily affected. This shows how flooding doesn't just affect humans, it disrupts the balance of the environment. Now let's look at the social impact. Thousands of families were forced to evacuate their homes. Many people lost everything, their houses, appliances, and even important documents. Health risks also became a major concern. Because of dirty floodwater, diseases like leptospirosis, diarrhea, and skin infections became more common. Children and elderly people were especially vulnerable. Education was also disrupted. Many schools were used as evacuation centers, so students were unable to attend classes. Daily life was completely interrupted, and recovery took a long time. This shows how disasters don't just damage property, they deeply affect people's lives and well-being.
In terms of economic impact, the damage was very costly. Farmers in Cagayan Valley suffered major losses because their crops, especially rice and corn, were destroyed by floodwaters. This affected food supply and their main source of income. Small businesses also struggled because operations were stopped and goods were damaged. Infrastructure like roads and bridges were also affected, making transportation difficult. Overall, the cost of recovery required a large amount of money, both from the government and from the affected communities.
Now, let's discuss the role of the government. Agencies like the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, focus on protecting forests and managing natural resources, which helps reduce flooding. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, is responsible for disaster response and coordination. There are also policies related to flood control, dam management, and early warning systems to help prepare communities before disasters happen. However, despite these policies, challenges still exist in implementation and coordination. Currently, several strategies are being used to reduce flood risks. One of the most important is early warning systems. Weather updates and alerts allow people to prepare and evacuate before flooding becomes severe. Evacuation centers and rescue operations also play a big role in saving lives during disasters. Another strategy is reforestation. Planting trees helps absorb rainwater and reduces the chances of flooding. Communities are also being trained in disaster preparedness, so they know what to do during emergencies. These strategies help, but they are not always enough on their own. To better address flooding, more improvements are needed. First, stronger infrastructure like better drainage systems and flood barriers should be developed to control water flow. Second, illegal logging must be strictly prevented. Trees play a very important role in absorbing water, and without them, flooding becomes worse. Third, land use planning should be improved. People should avoid building homes in high-risk flood areas. Better coordination in dam water release is also important to prevent sudden flooding. Lastly, educating communities about disaster preparedness can make a big difference in saving lives. In conclusion, flooding in Cagayan Valley during Typhoon Ulysses shows that environmental problems are complex. It is not caused by just one factor, and it cannot be solved by just one solution. We need a combination of environmental protection, effective government policies, proper planning, and community cooperation. If we work together and take these issues seriously, we can reduce the impact of future disasters. Thank you for listening.